Now, the Electoral Commission has urged the Supreme Court to back its decision to exclude the current voter's ID as proof of identification for prospective voters. This is contained in its June 8 response to the Apex Court following a petition by the opposition NDC. The EC argues that the existing voter's ID card was acquired by some Ghanaians in a manner that breached various laws. The Supreme Court on June 4 gave the EC up to June 8 to justify its stance. The credibility of the Ghana's voters register was a thorny issue prior to the 2016 election. The then opposition alleged that the register was bloated, insisting it cannot be a credible document showing Ghanaians of the voting age. The Supreme Court, in the case of Abu Ramadan and another versus the Electoral Commission in 2016, held that it was wrong for persons to use the National Health Insurance cards to get onto the electoral roll. We've been joined by lawyer Bernard Oredu for some legal education on this. Mr. Oredu, thank you very much for joining us on Newsdesk. We have the EC saying that the Supreme Court should essentially give it some time to deal with this issue. Your reaction first to the EC's response to the court.
Well, good morning to your viewers, and I'll say that I wasn't too surprised with the response the EC submitted to the court. I mean, if you looked at the reasons they gave, those are the reasons we were expecting to give, and I wasn't too surprised at all.
So you're looking at the issue of the voter's ID card. Now, the bit about the National Health Insurance, I mean, people who registered with the NHI card still being on the roll. Are you surprised that despite the court's directive to the commission in 2016, we still have a good number of people, according to the EC itself, still on the roll?
Well, I'm not too surprised because it was going to be very daunting. I mean, looking at the sheer numbers of the people who had registered with the NHIS card, it was going to be a daunting task. So I'm not too surprised that as of now, as of today, the EC has not been able to do that. But you talked about the reasons the EC gave to the court, and I'd want to probably put them probably under three headings, and for our viewers to really get the understanding of the EC's reasoning to the Supreme Court.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, first and foremost, you realize that it is both substantive law, procedural law, and evidence. They make the point that if you look at the provisions of Article 42 and 46, they are the body mandated to conduct elections, and therefore they are the body responsible for collating voter register for any election or referendum in the country. If you also look at the procedure, if you look at Article 11(7) of our Constitution, they follow the processes and have laid the necessary CI before Parliament. Then they also make the argument of the evidence. That is where you come in with the fact that CI12, the voter registers acquired under CI12, CI72, 91 are all defective. And therefore, with all those defective voter register, it won't be proper to have them used as a base for this new voter register. So basically, the reasons the EC gave to the Supreme Court is in three parts. One, substantive law. They're arguing that a law, they have the right and the mandate to do so. Two, procedural law. They're saying that they have gone through the requirement under Article 11(7). And two, evidence-based, adducing the evidence that all the voter register we have acquired over the years have been defective.
The arguments that EC puts out there, going forward, what do you expect of the Commission, even as it prepares to register people for the new ID?
You see, I think we need to tackle this issue once and for all. The lawyers will tell you, in law, there's a concept we call that no right is absolute. So even if you have a right under Article 42 as a Ghanaian, that upon the attainment of age 18, once you have sound mind, you can register and you're entitled to be registered as a voter. There's a corresponding duty on you to have yourself registered. So the issue as to who qualifies, the eligibility, who is that particular Ghanaian anticipated under Article 42 who can acquire a voter register and vote. We need to clear that once and for all. We need to have a definite pronouncement on it. What would entitle somebody to say that I'm 18 and I can register? Who is a Ghanaian and Article 42 when it comes to voting rights? And I think that if not for probably political expediency, this would have been the best time for all of us as Ghanaians to have this matter settled once and for all as to the eligibility of or credibility of who can be expected to vote, so that we have a voter register which would be, I wouldn't say that it will be sacrosanct, but at least to a very large extent would be proper and fit for the purpose of voting in Ghana. So I am thinking that we should take this opportunity to give a definitive definition as to who is a Ghanaian and Article 42, who is entitled to vote.
Lawyer Oredu, I want to thank you for your time here on News Desk, for bringing us some analysis on this issue. We'll be hearing from the NDC in our subsequent bulletins because they indeed dragged the EC to court. We'll be hearing what they make of the response.
And they are supposed to do that by Thursday. By tomorrow, and the court will have pronouncement by Thursday. So we are all awaiting the response from the NDC as well. We are going to subject it to legal analysis and see, because we have seen that the EC has submitted its reasonings and they make legal sense. We await the reasoning that the NDC may bring up to oppose the reasoning of the EC, and we all subject it to legal discussions.
Let's do some other stories now away from politics.